All right, hey everyone, welcome into another episode of the Sleeping with the Numbers podcast. Dylan and Pat here with a special guest. AJ is from the Fighting Chance Fantasy. You'll be able to check him out here. He'll plug his links here at the end of the show. But welcome, AJ. Glad to have you. You said you've been playing some best ball lately, so it's nice to have an extra pair of eyes here.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Sure thing. So, AJ, we usually like to kick off our episodes with a quick question of the day. And given this is going to be focused on best ball, that's what our topic is going to be. So, the question of the day is going to be who's someone later in draft? So, we're going to assume a 20-round draft here, which is what we're going to be doing here shortly. So, anyone like rounds 10 or above, someone that may go under the radar, but you think has a good chance, especially in best ball, to have some value. So I'll kick it off here, and I'm going to end up going with KJ Hamler from the Denver Broncos. Big reason here, massive upgrade at quarterback. If you've listened to the show, I'm not the biggest Russell Wilson fan, but I do absolutely despise Drew Lock and think he's a terrible, terrible quarterback. And honestly, probably shouldn't be in the league. But Russ is a massive upgrade. He has the ability to spread the ball around and make fantasy wide receivers relevant. Now, of course, the big two guys are going to be Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton, and obviously that makes sense. You're not going to get either one of them later in the draft. So my thought process here is if you're going to take a shot on someone deep, usually a wide receiver is a go-to because they're so variant. They have their ups and their downs, and we know both Jeudy and Sutton have injury history. So if one of them goes down, KJ puts himself into a great position as either the number two or hopefully this doesn't happen, but maybe the number one guy if something horrible were to happen and both of them go down. But Russ is going to be passing the ball more. He's going to have more opportunities, and you could get him super late in the draft. I just did a DraftKings best ball draft, and I was able to grab him in the 18th round. So very, very late here. Any thoughts on that pick here, guys?
Yeah, I like that pick just because I feel like he's going to complement what Russell Wilson does well. He has Sutton in the deep ball game, and then he has Judy, who's kind of like a technician, route running really, and then Hamler is just a speedster. So yeah, I like him not really only in best ball formats because you don't have to decide when to play him.
Pat, how about you?
I think you just picked it because you're biased and you like Penn State, but that's just my opinion.
I was actually going to go Dotson here. And if he's available while we're drafting, I'm probably going to recommend him because he's also a speedy little guy. Obviously not as good as someone as like a Tyreek or some of those other speedsters, but he's up there. So let's move over here to AJ. We'll let you take the next guy here just because you are the guest.
Someone I'm gonna roll with is someone who has a new head coach, or an offensive-minded one really, and KJ Osborne, another KJ. I think that with Kevin O'Connell, that they're gonna throw the ball a lot more than they did last year. I'm not gonna say they're not gonna work Dalvin Cook, but I just think with Justin Jefferson emerging, and Adam Thielen kind of in and out of the lineup, that Osborne has really a good chance if Thielen goes down to establish himself as a number two. I mean, he scored a quiet 7 touchdowns last year with 700 yards.
I like it. And again, picking these later round guys, it feels like the wide receiver is usually the move, just because they can have these boom weeks. And like you said, Thielen, he's getting older, he's getting up there, and maybe he can't play to how he was normally able to. We all got to come down at some point, and sadly for football players, it comes sooner than later. But the new head coach thing is a really good point there, AJ. Before it kind of felt like they were a run first team, and why not when you have someone like Dalvin Cook and even his backup Alexander Madison. But with the emergence of Justin Jefferson, I think it makes sense to let Kirk chuck that ball a bit more. Maybe Thielen's, the target in the red zone just because he's the bigger body, short route type of dude. But KJ's another fantastic option here in this offense.
I'll even throw in his tight end to go with him, Irv Smith. I think he could have a sleepy good season too. So that's another dart throw that you can make in the end of your best ball drafts.
I like it. Pat, finishing it out, what KJ are you picking?
I'm not. I'm going to pick Jalen Tolbert from the Cowboys because he was drafted as the number 3 receiver. Well, of course, Michael Gallup probably won't play immediately. So I think that kind of makes him the de facto number 2 because everyone's like, oh, he has to compete with James Washington. Dylan, you and I both know that's not a competition. James Washington could even catch balls from his own college quarterback in Mason Rudolph. So I think by de facto, Jalen Tolbert should be pretty good, at least for the beginning of the season. But something that I didn't really notice about him because he was.
Brown too.
What's that?
I think a lot of people are forgetting about Noah Brown too. I think he's gonna play a lot with the Gallup gone.
That's a good point as well. The thing with Tolbert is that, granted, he's not super fast, but he was dominant at USA. He was 6th in the FBS, was almost 1,500 receiving yards, and he had 18 yards per reception, which regardless of, I think wide receiver is a position where even if you go to a smaller school, you can get away with not having to play as good of a competition. I mean, just to reference the Steelers, we've seen how many guys from MAC schools or places like that come through, and they're just fine. So I think Jalen Tolbert might be worth it, at least for the beginning of the year, just because of the assumed volume that he'll get.
No, I was just saying I like that pick a lot. I'm not just saying that because I'm a Cowboys fan myself, but I think Tolbert has a chance. He kind of reminds me of Michael Gallup a little bit, so I feel like he has a chance to come in and step in and assume that role that's going to be missing.
It seems like a good replacement, kind of a 1-to-1 replacement here, and kind of similar to Minnesota here, where it was always thought of where Dallas is going to be this run-first team with Zeke. I'm still decently high on Zeke compared to other people, but we've kind of seen a shift here, and if they're going to let Dak do some work here, I think they're going to need to, especially in some games where they get caught behind. He's going to have to spread that ball around. And what really is going to matter, I think, in my mind, can CeeDee Lamb be the number 1 guy? I think he can, but am I willing to take that risk? I'm not so sure. It will probably depend on his draft price. And just for reference here, Pat, your correct pick should have been KJ Hill. He is the only other KJ left, and he plays apparently for the Chargers. Fun fact here. He's ranked 950th out of all players, so,
He would be a very sneaky pick.
He would be. He probably doesn't make the fucking team. All right, boys. Anyways, let's move it over to DraftKings, where we are going to get into a draft for the NFL Best Ball $3.50 millionaire tournament. So we're going to draft a team here. I'm going to click draft team, and we're going to do, go away. We're going to do, we're not going to do the slow pick because I don't think we have 8 hours per pick to do this. So it is going to be a little rapid fire here, 30 seconds a pick. So I'm going to rely on you guys to help me out while we are making these picks. So I'll hit enter here. We have to wait for the draft to fill up. We have 2 out of 12 entrants right now. I've only had later picks in these drafts, so AJ, I'll kind of defer to you here. In your best ball drafts, where do you like to pick? Does it differ from season long fantasy?
Where I love to pick in best ball is kind of like in that 10-11 spot.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the turn, but I kind of like to see what the turn what they get with the back-to-back pick. So I feel like when you drafted that 10 or 11 spot, that's where like the value really falls to you.
Yeah, I've had problems where, it's sometimes fun to be the first overall pick. When I was a youngin' and getting into fantasy football, everyone wanted that number 1 pick. Everyone wanted it. But what I'm learning, the more I play, and, how long have I been playing now? Holy shit, it's probably coming up to 20 years. I'm old. But anyways, fantasy football, getting that first pick, it's a lot of pressure. And you don't want to get it wrong. And so many people have gotten it wrong these past 2-3 years, even with Christian McCaffrey, and how often he just goes down. So the question, I guess, this season, who do you guys feel is the correct number 1 pick in any format?
I think it's got to be Taylor, and we talked about that in our risky players. Until CMC can stay healthy, I don't care how many points per game you get, because for me, it's such a waste of a pick potentially, especially with the whole it's a Baker Sam Darnold open competition.
Blech.
No, it's a train wreck. It doesn't matter. You can throw in PJ Walker. It doesn't matter. The team's going to win 6 games.
That's high.
I think I'm taking a lot of shots at Justin Jefferson at the 1-1
Ooh.
because I think he has a chance to establish himself as the clear-cut number 1 receiver in the league this season.
I like it in any format or more so for just PPR.
Honestly, in a lot of formats, mainly because a lot of the guys that finished in the top 5 last year, they're already in, besides Taylor, already in that 26 years old, 27-year-old range. So I'd rather take a shot at the guy who hasn't finished number 1 overall yet, besides than the guy who already has.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, that's interesting here because even right now, looking at the screen here in this waiting room for DraftKings, um, the lineup's a little interesting. So DraftKings is full PPR, and there's bonuses given for 100-yard rush games, 100-yard receiving games. So it's interesting here. Jonathan Taylor, I think that's just kind of around the fantasy football world what they think. All right, so we are in. We get pick number 4 here, and the draft is going to start in 1 minute. So, guys, let's just assume here Taylor goes first. And, AJ, we might get your guy. Justin Jefferson may make it to us. So, if that happens, do we want to go for the wide receiver, or are we going to try?
If McCaffrey falls to you at the 1-4, I think you can't pass on him just based on the upside alone.
Pat, any difference in opinion?
I'm fine with either. Personally, I would like Justin Jefferson, but I kind of feel the same way. Is that I might eat my words if I say no, Christian McCaffrey is going to be a bust, and then doesn't get hurt this year.
So it's all about risk, and I feel like you're able to take more risks in best ball formats because even if McCaffrey goes down, he doesn't get into your lineup, right?
Wait, how do y'all feel about this? This is a best ball format, so you can take any build approach that you'd like. A lot of people like to get that positional advantage and take Kelsey in the top 5 too.
I can't do that. Maybe towards the end of the first round, but that's tough for me. I've seen that kind of bully thing where people take Kelsey and then Andrews in the first 2 rounds, and that's just rough in my mind.
It just depends because there's so many different strategies to take the best ball. I feel like that's why I like it so much.
So JT does go first and then CMC. So Pat, we don't have to worry here about that pick.
Oh, thank God, because I was gonna have to reluctantly go with you guys.
Number 3,
Ooh.
Derrick Henry. Interesting in a full point PPR.
Okay, we got 24 seconds. Stop talking. Just make a pick. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, boys. We want Jefferson.
I mean, it's a coin flip between Kupp and Jefferson, so I'll let y'all pick, but I'm on the Jefferson side.
I like Jefferson. Let's be different because Cooper Kupp also has to have injury issues last year.
All right, let's do it.
I'm sorry, not last year, previous years, because previous years I've had him in dynasty leagues and he never lived up to expectations. And then I dropped him, and then, God forbid, Matt Stafford joins the team.
All right, so next after our Justin Jefferson pick goes Cooper Kupp and then Jamar Chase. How do you guys feel about Jamar Chase in full point PPR? Now, he's obviously not the reception guy. That tends to be T. Higgins' role, but his big game potential is you can't ignore it.
I like Jamar, but part of me feels like I'd rather take a stud running back there and then get T. Higgins in the 3rd or the 4th.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair.
I think.
Good.
No, I'm sorry. I was just saying that because I think the trajectory is almost the same. I think last year Jamar had the big season, and maybe it's this year that Higgins has the big season, and you're getting him in the 4th.
Would you guys agree
Or
that
the 3rd in a lot of
Higgins is the safer guy, where Chase is maybe more boom bust, but may finish as a wide receiver, a top 3 wide receiver?
I kind of agree with that. I mean, you can even look at that way with Tyler Boyd.
And Boyd's another guy I've been snagging.
I like Tyler
late.
Boyd super late.
There you go. Yeah. Same mind there, EJ. We thought the same exact thing. He's great.
I think I saw a stat was something like Boyd is the number 1 receiver on his team, but by PFF he was rated the number 1 slot receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, That makes sense to me. So last guy we left off on was Jamar Chase. After that, Austin Eckler goes, who I think's a fantastic pick for PPR. Stephon Diggs, Dalvin Cook, Devontae Adams. Well, let's stop here and talk about Devontae Adams a little bit. Personally, I am staying away. I am not a Derek Carr fan. I think Adams obviously is going to be the number one guy there, but first round, even at the 110 spot, that is a risk that I'm not taking.
I think after Diggs is gone, it's a risk worth taking because he's Devontae Adams. And the next best receiver, CeeDee Lamb. So I feel like if you're drafting in the first, then you have to go with the safer receiver.
After Devontae,
Yeah,
oops, sorry, go ahead, Pat.
That's fine. I don't care if you interrupt me. I guess for me, taking Devontae Adams, I mean, I don't know if I would do that because we kind of view Kirk Cousins as the above-average quarterback, sort of like Derek Carr. So we might have two elite wide receivers that have okay quarterbacks, and I think if you didn't have Justin Jefferson, it'd be okay because I feel like that's the main issue with Kirk Cousins is that him and Derek Carr are sort of in the same tier for me.
If Kirk Cousins can power Justin Jefferson, then Derek Carr can't power Devontae Adams.
No, what I
Yes.
think is that they both. I think that they both could. I think that they both could. What I'm saying is that that's the risk associated with those two wide receivers. That's it. I mean, I think if they were on other teams, I don't think Justin Jefferson would be behind Cooper Kupp, and I don't think Devontae Adams would be forgotten about. And because to me, he is forgotten about now because everyone's like he's elite, but we're not really talking about him as the number one overall pick like he was in previous years.
I see their offense is kind of similar, the way they throw the football. So I don't know. Yes, I'd rather have Jefferson, but in the back of the first round, I think I'd give me Adams.
All right, I am going to interrupt here, boys. So Kelsey goes, Mixon, Lamb, Swift, Evans, Najee, Barkley, Jones, Samuel, Fournette. We are back on the board here. Mark Andrews is staring me in the face, but we could also get kind of a top running back here with James Conner. Who do we want?
I'm
I'm
I
good
like
with
the
Mark.
Andrews. I like the zero RB.
All right, so we are taking Mark
We're gonna have to take
Andrews,
the-
and given that he is the only wide receiver, the only guy that Lamar really likes to throw the ball to, but with Hollywood Brown now going to Arizona, 100, what did he get? 103 receptions last year, something like that. I think he can repeat that.
But Lamar's not a top 10 quarterback, so that brings me back to my conversation about Derek Carr. No, I'm just kidding. That stuff was so
I'm high on
stupid on
Lamar this
Twitter.
season. Lamar's the guy I'm high on.
You can get him so later than you've ever been able to since his rookie year. So that's a risk I'm willing
This season,
to
give
take.
me Lamar over Joe Burrow.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, so after our pick of Mark Andrews goes Tyreek Hill, Keenan Allen, T. Higgins. See, that feels a little early for T. Higgins, but even then, I really wouldn't complain, especially in a full PPR type format.
Ooh, so now we're up.
There
So
goes
let's go back
Pittman.
to who's available right now.
Right now, we have Josh Allen. Do we want to go quarterback? I really don't like that so much in best ball. Javonte Williams, Mike Williams, Alvin Kamara, James Conner. Personally, Pat, you know my thoughts on James Conner, but I think it's a solid pick here in the third.
I would say him or Kamara.
I think we should go
I'm sorry, we ran out of time.
Connor.
We did run out of time there. I'll try to
I was gonna say
keep
we
us
should
on
go.
track.
I was gonna say, since it's a best ball format, we should have tried to grab Javante there and then grab Melvin later.
Before our pick, Nick Chubb went A.J. Brown, Michael Pittman, and then we took James Conner. The next two picks were Travis Etienne and Alvin Kamara. Go ahead, AJ.
I like the Connor pick though. I'm not mad at it just because I think he has a touchdown floor coming into this year, which is probably about like a 9 or 10 or so.
I think you and Pat have the same vibe about Connor.
Oh yeah, he was one of my keepers because AJ, we have a dynasty league that we're in together, and we have 4 keepers. And you basically sacrifice a draft pick based off of where you drafted him last year. I got to keep him this year for an 11th. I will happily take that.
Yeah, for sure. Josh Allen just went. No, we were thinking about him.
And that feels late for him as well.
How do y'all
End
feel
of the
about-
third.
How do y'all feel about grabbing quarterback early?
Go ahead, Dylan.
I tend to.
Does it have to be
not.
Allen or bust?
No, I'm big on Herbert. I think it really depends on the scoring format, but I would pass Allen to get Herbert in the next round or two.
I've always
You'd
the
be
other
surprised
keeper
what
I
you
have
see
this year
because
is. Oh, go ahead.
no, you go.
Oh, I was gonna say in that same dynasty league, my keeper tandem. I have one more year of Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. Josh Allen's probably my favorite quarterback in existence right now. I would have taken him if I was just picking myself, but I wouldn't be upset if we waited till and got a guy like a Lamar or Jalen Hurts or somebody like that.
So I don't know how you guys feel, but for best ball, I usually like overloading on wide receivers just because there's so much more variance at that position.
I'm definitely a wide receiver guy. If you go back, I play a ton on underdog and a little bit on
Nice.
drafters. And if you look at half half of my builds, it's 9 receivers, 10 receivers, and my first 3 picks are receivers. I love going zero RB.
Which is strange for me
Trying to mix
because
it up a little now that it's getting closer to the season.
normally in like standard leagues and everything, I don't. I'm almost always big on getting my running backs early, and then wide receivers later. But in best ball, I think it's the complete opposite. But I am going to read off what went here.
Like,
Javante, Josh Allen, Mike Williams, DJ Moore, Jalen Waddle, Mahomes, Waller, Johnson, Cam Akers, Kyle Pitts, Gabriel Davis, Hollywood Brown, Zeke, Sutton, and we are back on the clock here. And we just talked about him. Justin Herbert is here and available. Lamar as well. What do you guys think? 15 seconds.
I'm kind of liking Brees in this spot. I'm not gonna lie. I think he finishes top 12.
Ooh. Pat.
I'd do the Brees as well. Let's go for it.
I'm outvoted here. All right, let's go. This
And
is
so now that we missed on Javante, since we grab Brees here later on, we can try to swoop in Michael Carter.
So is your go-to to try to get those running back handicaps for best ball?
If if I'm getting a back like Damian Harris, if I'm getting a back like the one we just got, then I'm trying to get like even like Cam Akers, I'm trying to get Daryl Henderson just in case, especially since you can't make any moves. So if one of them goes down, then you need the insurance for backs that are questionable. But if I'm grabbing like JT or Eckler or number one guy, then I tend not to handcuff them. Sorry.
all right, guys. After Brees, Terry McLaurin goes, David Montgomery, George Kittle, Brandon Cooks. Two more picks, and we are up. Next pick goes Justin Herbert. Damn, I thought I could, get him a little bit later. Round five would have been fantastic. One more pick, and we are on the clock. Lamar Jackson's there. Robinson, Juju, Jerry Judy, who I kind of, well, spoke too soon. Jerry Judy goes. We are on the clock here, boys. 20 seconds.
I feel like he won't. What's our team so far?
Connor, Hall,
Or
Jefferson, Andrews.
oh,
Do
there
we
it is.
want the stack of Lamar and Andrews?
I think we should. I think we should. I was gonna say maybe we should either grab Lamar or Kyler.
I'm good with Lamar.
Let's do it. I like that stack. That's an interesting thing. We could get some crazy weeks with them working together.
I like this team so far.
Yeah, and,
Now
and
we're taking more of like a hero receiver approach, just trusting Jefferson to anchor our receivers for us, and see what we can dig up later.
yeah, and I think we could probably tag some of our guys that we talked about at the beginning of the episode. Again, every wide receiver has just such a variable next to them. It doesn't matter who it is. Even Justin Jefferson, he'll have off weeks. He'll have weeks where he scores maybe 10 points or something. It's going to be rare, but it does happen even with these stud wide receivers. So I'm all for AJ, like you said, loading up at wide receiver.
Speaking of which, what do you guys view
Man, I
about
really like where we
Juju?
got Brees
Because
Hall.
Pat, I think you know my feelings on Juju, but so I'll defer to AJ here.
No, I feel good about Juju. We can't ignore that. I feel good about Juju. I think he catches for a K. I think he
that's what I'm thinking too. Because even when he was with Pittsburgh, people act like he was this bum, but it's because he got hurt. And like he hit her shoulder really bad. Like it wasn't some
and even
BS like
if
lingering injury.
in
Like
Pittsburgh
he's
they're having him do all the in Pittsburgh they're having him do all the grimy work, so it was like inevitable for him to be injured. So I think here I think Mahomes is going to take him under his wing.
And Pat, to go off what you were saying, I think the other thing in why everyone thought that way about Juju is everyone, I shouldn't say everyone, a lot of people expected him to fill those shoes that AB left behind. And now those are big, dirty, disgusting shoes. But nonetheless, they are, you can't replace a player like that. So having that high of expectations for Juju after AB left, it just wasn't possible. So I think people realize that now. I don't think he's a terrible, terrible wide receiver, but the fact is he's on a very high-powered offense where it's anyone's game for who's going to be the wide receiver one in Kansas City.
Well, the good thing about dirty, disgusting shoes is that we did draft George Pickens, and he has character issues according to scouts. So that's fantastic because so
Great.
did Antonio Brown.
After Lamar, Juju went St. Brown, Allen Robinson, J.K. Dobbins, Darnell Mooney, Chris Godwin, Adam Thielen, Antonio Gibson, Elijah Moore, and then Elijah Mitchell. 2 Elijahs in a row. Go ahead, AJ.
In this tournament format, how do y'all feel about like matchup stacking?
Like going against each other?
Like, because in week 17 is when all the money is played. So, like, say we have Lamar and Andrews. Say maybe later on we pick in Pickens as a dart throw, and they have the big game. And because last year the whole thing about matchup stacking is that's when the Bengals and the Chiefs had that big game, and there's teams that won
Sure.
millions of dollars because they had Burrow, they had Chase, they had Mixon, and then the other side they had Kelsey, and then yeah, it's just become a big thing this season, and I've been targeting that a lot
So,
because in best ball you're trying to play like you're in week 17 in best ball already.
what game stands
That's
out
how,
to you week 17?
out of our lineup, probably the
Well,
out
even
of
who
our
we haven't
lineup,
drafted yet.
I know the Bills and the Bengals Monday Night Football.
Okay. I like it. I like it. So we are coming up here in 2 picks, 1 pick now. After Elijah Mitchell, Russell Gage, Jalen Hurts, Alan Lazard, DK Metcalf, Joe Burrow, 1 more pick, and then we are on the clock. Looking like, man, that'd be a weird thing to get both Kyler. So I don't think I want that. AJ Dillon is
What
an
about
interesting one
I
I'm
think,
looking at here.
Hunter Renfro,
what
too?
about that triple stack with Bateman?
Do we think Lamar can spread the ball around enough? That's a pretty small pie in Baltimore. So we are up, and Bateman went. So never mind. He's off the board.
I personally am good with Dylan or Hunter Renfro. I think Renfro's low key always going to get you points.
We do need wide receivers. And if we think about
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good with Renfro.
McDaniels, I'll take him here. Who was the last PPR guy, short ball guy that he worked with? Julian Edelman. So he could. Renfro was already coming into his own, being that PPR type guy. But with the change of head coach there, I think he can really take off. Oh, Kyler went. But just to bring it back, let's say Bateman didn't go. I'm open to this conversation here because I know the problem has always been with Baltimore. It's a very, very small passing pie. There's only a few guys that can really get these receptions. We got the one who gets most of them in Andrews. Do we think Lamar is going to throw the ball enough to be able to maintain and have value in some of these other wide receivers?
I think I'd be confident in grabbing Bateman because I liked what Marquise Brown was getting when Lamar was healthy. He was just dropping every single touchdown that was in his direction.
Sure. All right, guys, we are up here in 3 picks.
I think Bateman.
After Renfro went Kyler Murray, Amari Cooper, Russell Wilson. So we are coming up here now in 2 more picks. Devin Singletary goes. AJ Dillon's still there, and honestly, I like that. If Jones goes down, I'm pretty big on him. But again, we do need wide receivers. So looking at who's available there, Devonta Smith, Hopkins, who's suspended for 6 games, but I mean, when he comes back, that's interesting. Drake London, Christian Kirk. I'm gonna do a hard veto on Michael Thomas, but we are on the board here.
I like either Smith or I like Dylan.
Pat, what do you
Wouldn't
think?
be mad at waiting for Hopkins too.
I think I'm gonna take Devontae Smith because I think people are really too high on Dylan. I'm not sure what that's actually gonna turn into.
I think a lot of people are waiting. I think the hope for Dylan is, yeah, he was getting a lot of the rushing work just because he has massive, massive hamstrings. But a lot of that reliance is on Aaron Jones going down, and he will miss a few games. But I don't like trying to predict injury. That's always not a good thing to do.
Hey, maybe we'll get lucky and Rashad Penny will stay available
They
if
project
you want to
him
get
to
another
get
running back.
20 plus carries a game, which I don't know if I believe, but hey, they can't pass the ball, so maybe they do.
So can I ask y'all a controversial question? That's pretty controversial in the fantasy world. Are y'all
Absolutely.
early tight end guys or wait and stream?
So for me, because we have this dynasty league, I've always been early tight end because I've held on to Mark Andrews like gold. So I usually go after him. And if I'm not, I mean, not to be a homer, but I like guys like Pat Fryermuth, or I'm trying to get like a Dalton Schultz. So I'm kind of all over the place, but my priority is to get the number one tight end because I've always felt in previous years that Kelsey dominated leagues instead of Gronkowski. So I think Andrews is the next guy to
Yeah,
do that.
I'm in a dynasty league and I acquired Pitts and I sold him. I sold him high.
Good move.
I think I got like 3 firsts in commit.
Holy shit! Yeah, no, you made the right call there. Um, for me, I have the other top tight end in our dynasty league with Kelsey, but he's a little older. But with tight ends, seem to stay at their peak around early 30s. So hopefully that's fine. But if I'm drafting for a new redraft league, it really depends on where I'm drafting at. If I'm drafting near the back of the first, so let's say I get spot, I don't know, maybe 10 through 12, I'm more than okay taking a tight end there. Now, another question here: who's your tight end one?
In dynasty, Andrews, but in redraft and best ball, Kelsey.
Okay, Pat.
I think Andrews, regardless, just because I think Kelsey's starting to get just a little too old, and I just feel like Mark Andrews is the only target option.
You
Like
don't
we
I
think?
talked
just
about
think
Juju. Juju low
Tyreek left
key
behind a
stealing a lot of targets.
25% target share, so that's why I like Kelsey because
That's
Tyreek left behind that
fair.
target share.
They
That's
also
like
added
the only.
three wide receivers though that could split that up. But I'm going to read off the picks here because we are up here again soon. So after Devonta went A.J. Dillon, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Michael Thomas, Christian Kirk, Devonta Harris, Tom Brady, Drake London, Tony Pollard, Hopkins. He did not make it back to us. Miles Sanders, T.J. Hawkinson, Dallas Goedert, Kareem Hunt, and then Dak Prescott. Now one more pick, and we are on the board. Kadarius Toney went off next, and one more pick before we are up. Matty Stafford goes off the board. So Penny
Oh,
is
look who's at
back
the
here.
top! Look who's at the top!
Do you guys want him?
I'm open to suggestions.
I like him, and honestly I wouldn't mind taking Olave right here too. I'm high on Olave this year.
Ooh, Dylan, pick one.
So I think we have a short turn here. So I think Olave, if any of these guys are going to make it back to us, it might be him. So I'm going to take Penny. Another thing before we get
I think he's
back up here, what are your guys' thoughts on Trey Lance? Because in the best ball league, we're later in the draft here. We're in round 8. We have Lamar Jackson, who's
you
been
might not
known to
like
get
that, but I
injured.
like Trey Lance.
Would we want to play that type of game, given it is best ball? Do we think Lance actually has that ceiling?
I think Jimmy G starts week 1.
Ooh. Ooh. You don't think Jimmy G goes to Seattle?
I think there's no way they trade him to a division rival. That'll come back to bite them in the ass so hard. I
That's fair.
promise you.
That's fair.
Jimmy G will go 2-0 against the 49ers if they trade him to the Seahawks.
I would just love to watch that, though. That would be so fun.
I just think that I saw some things on ESPN and on Twitter that Lance has arm fatigue and they're trying to change his throwing motion. And I just feel like that's why they haven't moved Jimmy G. Yeah, he had that surgery, but they're playing it safe.
I
I
guess
think if they really want to win a Super Bowl, they run it back.
I guess if Lance,
Lance is still on the rookie deal.
let's say the arm fatigue's real. Does that mean he just runs more? And if that's the case, is he better for fantasy?
Yes, because he still has a cannon.
Which is why I think he's perfect for best ball. But I'm going to read off these picks here. We are coming up after we took Penny, Ayuk, Chase Edmonds, Hayden Hurst, which is interesting, Trey Lance, so I don't even get to make an argument for the next time. Cordero Patterson, Pat, there goes your guy. And then one more pick, Aaron Rodgers goes. So Chris Olave is back here.
That's fine with me.
I think
I'm open to either him. I think Lockett this late's a value because I think no matter who's his quarterback, he's gonna have those boom weeks, and that's perfect for best ball.
Oh shit! You guys are leaving it up to me again. 10 seconds. I think I do agree with you, AJ. Lockett, even with Russ, he had games where he disappeared and games where he won you the entire week because he puts up 45 points or something like that. So I think that's still possible here. And Pat and I talked about it in our risky player episode where DK, super duper risky. And I mean, both of them are, but you can get Lockett like we just did here much later, and we got him in the 9th.
Ooh, before you go into anything
I'll
else,
take
Uncle Kirk is still available.
DK that late.
Which Kirk, Pat?
Uncle Kirk. We can stack him with Justin Jefferson if he's still there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so we could have double
like
stack. There
because
he is.
Lamar's going to have those down weeks where he just...
Oh, yeah.
Lamar's going to have a couple of those down weeks, so Kirk Cousins coming in and delivering those 303 TDs timely is going to be... It's going to be nice.
I don't mind that at all. And AJ, I'll bring this question to you since you've been doing a decent amount of best ball here. How many quarterbacks do you like having on your team? I try to go for 2 or 3, but 2 itself even feels risky depending on who you take.
I play a lot of super flex best ball, I feel like.
Gotcha.
So usually I have like 3 or 4, but in this I like to have 3 still because I like Lamar, but since you can't pick anybody up, you need that insurance. Lamar runs a lot, so he might get hurt. You never know.
For sure.
So like later on, I like targeting guys like we get Kirk here. I'm completely fine with that. But later on, I like targeting guys like Matt Ryan, like Jameis, guys you're gonna air it out.
I think I have taken Jameis in every best ball draft I've done so far this season.
I like Jameis this year. I mean, I've always been a Jameis guy.
I mean, if he goes 30 interceptions, 30 touchdowns, I'm happy.
Hey, low key off topic. I just saw something on Twitter. Apparently, Richie Incognito retired today. Who was the guy from the Dolphins that he kept making fun of? He got in trouble for. I can't think of the name.
Here we can. How many picks until we're up?
I can look it up. I'm
Okay.
not the one controlling but I don't know why I always giggle when I see that because he was in the news for so long because he was bullying somebody. It's like, okay, whatever. Like,
they got nothing else to talk about.
How do y'all feel about the Jets receivers this year? Wilson and Elijah Moore.
I hate to say it because I went to Penn State, but I do like Wilson. Elijah, I think, is the better pick. However, I think he has that established kind of rapport already with the other Wilson, Zach Wilson. So if I'm taking one of them, probably Moore. But I don't mind either one of them, especially in the best ball format. And just sorry, I'm gonna cut everyone off here. We are up in a couple picks here. I forgot who we drafted. Lockett, MVS went, Ertz, Knox, Claypool, Olave, Kenneth Walker, Treylon Burks, Sky Morse, Garrett Wilson. So a bunch of rookies there. Another rookie, James Cook, Robert Woods, Christian Watson, Tim Patrick. I do like Tim Patrick. Tyler Boyd, and then that's a shame. Melvin Gordon did go 2 picks before us. So this guy is making his pick, and then we are back on the board. He ends up taking Derek Carr. Good. I didn't want him. Do we want Kirk here as we discussed?
I like Kirk.
yeah.
Cool.
And while you're doing that, I did figure this out. So
Okay.
it was Jonathan Martin. And just to go a little back through the time capsule, February 14th, 2014. Miami offensive lineman Jonathan Martin was subjected to a pattern of harassment that included racial slurs and vicious sexual taunts about his mother and sister.
That was
That's
in
messed up.
Miami, right? That's isn't
Yep.
that? Didn't they bring that up while Flores was like getting fired?
No, Well, was he the head coach at that time?
I think
No, he
so.
wasn't. That was 2014.
Oh.
Are you saying that they brought it up because he was in charge?
We will come back to that. So after we took Kirk, Ramondre Stevenson, Mecole Hardman, Michael Gallup, Justin Fields, Jarvis Landry, one more pick, and we are back on the board here. We do not have any backup running backs, although we have one in the flex. So Mike Gesicki goes off next. Do we want to back up tight end in Irv?
Michael Carter down there.
Michael, where we at?
Oh yeah,
Michael
like
Carter.
you were saying about the stack. That's fine with me.
I'm also kind of big on Pierce. AJ, you're Texas guy here, pretty close to Houston.
Maybe Carter could make it back to me. There's Yeah, you can't ask me if I want a Texas player, man. I'm a Cowboys fan.
Then I'm taking him. All right, so I used an executive decision pick here. I took Pierce. I do think he's the best running back in that room so far. I know people's obsession with Marlon Mack. Sexy Rexy's still there as well, but I think later in the season, Pierce is going to end up being the only healthy one. Say again, AJ. I'm sorry.
Say Rex is going to vulture some of those touchdowns, though.
It's fair, but how many games does he play? He's injury man too.
Yeah. Man, I just have a lot of good memories with Rex.
Oh yeah, and when he's up with the Patriots, there were good times there. Because he would always come out of nowhere. He was always like the third string dude, and then he would just do amazing midseason. And Belichick's like, "Oh yeah, you're still a guy."
He's always that guy you picked up off the waiver wire, and he wins a week for you.
Yeah,
because he gets like 4 goal line touchdowns or 3 goal line touchdowns or something like that.
All right, guys. So there's gonna be 8 more rounds when we are back on the board. After we took Pierce, Irv Smith went, Kenny G, Jacoby Myers, Trevor Lawrence, and then Rondale Moore. So let's kind of discuss here. What are your guys' thoughts going into it? A few things I see here right off the bat. We could get a backup tight end here if Andrews were to have a down week. I'm also, especially in PPR, I like Hines. Do we want to take a shot on Madison? Steal someone's handcuff. Michael Carter, AJ, you brought him up as well. Do we want our own handcuff for Breece Hall? Because I think Carter probably gets the starting work early in the season, just because rookie treatment. But open to suggestions here as we are up in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 9 picks.
If Komet falls to us, I think Komet's a good value. I think he gets a chunk of that target share coming out of Chicago. And he scored 0 touchdowns last year, so I think he's bound to at least score a couple.
Yeah, and who else do they have to throw to? It's similar. It feels like a Baltimore situation. They got Darnell Mooney and then Cole Kmet. So 1 wide receiver, 1 tight end.
With the rushing quarterback.
Exactly. They're trying to mimic Baltimore just very poorly.
I'm not mad at Dotson here because I feel like a lot of people are low on him, and Carson Wentz is a good quarterback until it's the big moment. And
you
then
spoke his name, and then he immediately goes. Well, that's a shame because I was going to be fully on board.
Carson Wentz brought the biggest value to whoever is a pass catcher in Washington. That's why I'm higher on most than McLaurin this year. I think he has his best season this year.
All right, 3 picks until we are up. After we took, I'm not looking at the pick history. That's why I got confused. Damian Pierce, Irv Smith. I said Rondale Moore. That's where we ended. Everett, Tua, Alexander Madison, Justin Ross, Rashard White. Cole Kmet goes right before us. We should just not say names anymore. I like Hines here personally, especially for PPR.
I like Parker here.
Parker. Devonta Parker on New England. Pat?
Sure.
Well, sure to which?
Oh, Devonta Parker.
Cool. Done.
I thought that's what you were asking me.
No.
I just wanted me to confirm the pick.
Well, we brought up 2 names and you went, yeah. That one. Let me read off these picks here real quick. I had to move. Alexander Madison went at the end of round 11. Opening round 12, Justin Ross goes Rashard White. Van Jefferson, Dotson, Ronald Jones, Pat Fryermuth, Michael Carter, Cole Kmet, Devontae Parker, Matt Ryan. We took Parker, by the way. Matty Ice, Naeem Hines, Josh Palmer, and then Pat, your sneaky pick.
Oh, he's not so sneaky anymore.
Yeah, Team Guinness listened to the show live. He's listening in now. But we have 2 more picks, and we are on the clock. We didn't get a backup tight end, right? So not huge. Actually, I do like Hunter Henry. Other guys, Jameson Williams is here. Boy. Jameis is there if we wanted a third quarterback. Crowder can be sneaky, I think, for Buffalo as a PPR guy. What do you guys think?
I feel like we'd rather have Crowder now or Isaiah McKenzie in the last round.
If I had to pick, I'd go Crowder now just because PPR. Pat?
Crowder's fine.
Cool. We are taking Crowder. On the turn coming back, if Henry's there, what do you guys think of him? Or are there any other kind of later tight ends that you like over him? I could read some of these names off. Henry, Fant, Higbee. Boy. That's kind of...
Ooh, Rob Gronkowski's available. No, I'm just kidding.
I like Trey McBride. I don't think he'll do... Well, actually, he has an opportunity early with Hopkins gone, but he is a rookie that I like, but I also understand that rookie tight ends usually do not pan out.
You know, low-key, Noah Fant may not be bad because he's expected to start. Same thing with Njoku. If Njoku wasn't a glass house, I would say him.
Is Njoku also on the Jets?
No, Njoku's the Browns starting tight end. Or are you saying there a Njoku?
Who went to the Jet? Who? Oh, the Cincinnati.
CJ Uzomah.
Yeah, he went to... I knew it was one of those orange teams. Yeah, because I was going to bring that up because I'm like, man, it feels like we're taking a lot of Jets, but we only have one? I think we talked about getting more, but they
probably because you picked Crowder and you haven't processed that he switched teams.
That's fair. Oh, Hunter Henry went. All right. We really just should not speak names that we want to draft until we're up because...
Yeah, so Deshaun Watson would be a really good pick. So would Baker. I'm just trying to get people off the board here.
Baker, Carson Wentz. That's a fantastic pick. Someone should take him.
Donovan McNabb might be good to get in later rounds.
Who's the neck, Pat? Why did I forget his name?
Mike Glennon.
Mike Glennon. That's who you want. All right. So after Crowder goes, oh God, I'm gonna call him Albert O because I can't pronounce his last name. Tight end for Denver. Then DJ Chark, Jameis Winston, Hunter Henry, Henderson. That's another pretty sneaky pick. If Akers' Achilles, he looks the way he did in playoffs, that's an interesting one there. Kenneth Gainwell, Robbie Anderson, Zach Wilson, Corey Davis, and that's the latest pick. Just to refresh everyone on our team so far: Lamar Jackson, James Conner, Breece Hall, Justin Jefferson, Hunter Renfrow, Devonta Smith, Mark Andrews, Penny, Tyler Lockett, Kirk Cousins, Pierce, Devonta Parker, Jameson, Crowder with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more rounds.
We're killing this so far, honestly.
What was that, AJ?
I think we're killing this so far.
Hell yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate the assistance here. I like having 2 other minds to...
Well, really, you have one extra mind because usually it's just you.
We got... What we got? So that adds up to 2 1/4 minds. There goes Marlon Mack.
Hey, it's like 2.5 men. Except, am I Charlie Sheen or am I the kid?
Who's Ashton Kutcher?
I mean, I think by age I'd be the kid.
Yeah, that's fair. You're the half. All right, 3
What do you
picks.
mean, who's Ashton Kutcher? Was he in that show?
Yeah, they killed off Charlie Sheen because he did a bunch of coke, and then they brought in Ashton Kutcher.
I didn't stop. I've stopped watching it after that part.
Ryan Tannehill, Tyler Aguilar, I think I said that right. J.D. McKissick, Marlon Mack, Noah Fant, Daniel Jones. One more pick, and we are on the board here, guys. We talked
James
about
Robinson. Ooh. Sorry.
Pat got excited. So James Robinson, thoughts on that? I know everyone's high on ETN. Robinson is also coming off that Achilles injury. I thought he just went there. Robert Tunyon went before this pick, so we are on the board 20 seconds ago, guys.
I kind of like either Higbee or Robinson. I'm not mad at Mac Jones, but we already have 2 QBs. I just think Mac Jones.
What do you guys think of Ingram with
good.
Kamara likely being suspended?
He's a bum.
Okay. Did we say Higbee?
Yep.
Whew. Slipping it in there. So we do take Tyler Higbee.
How do I feel about TDP? You think Shanahan? You
We
think Shanahan reverts to his old ways and there's a new leading rusher?
It's interesting, right? Because this is another thing Pat and I talked about in the previous episode is whoever the starting running back is for San Francisco always goes down. So I don't mind TDP at all. And again, best ball, more willing to take that shot.
You know what would be the most Kyle Shanahan 49ers thing to happen? If Jeff Wilson emerged and he was the number one. That would be like the most.
He's always the
49er
number
thing
one
to
towards
happen.
the end of the year. But we are on the board here. Gus, Watkins, Mac Jones, Evan Ingram go. We already took a backup
Or
tight
Jeff
end.
Wilson, I meant Trey Sermon. My bad.
TDP is there. If we want him, Ingram. If we're looking at running backs, Williams is now on Arizona. I don't think I want a handcuff, but I don't mind the Davis Price.
I'd roll with that too.
Rad. So we
Or
do-
low key, Dylan. We always forget about your boy JaMychal Hasty.
Pat, I got
He's
some
still in
inside
existence.
info there. If we want to hear it, he might be back on the practice squad.
What?
Yeah.
Going back to that question that you asked me at the beginning of the show about guys that I like to take shots on late. I feel like guys who like to take shots on late are someone like Alec Pierce. I see him there. Was it 177?
Yeah.
He's pretty interesting to me. Rookie coming in. There's no clear number two, so it's kind of like a Tolbert situation.
Ooh, and it, even lower, 184. Deshaun's still there, and I don't know. No, I'm not joking because it went from him not getting suspended to him getting suspended a year, and now the rumors are 6 games.
Yeah.
Who cares at this point?
It's so scary.
But wouldn't it be wild? I mean, it's going to be 6 games. They wouldn't keep putting that out there if it wasn't talked about.
Hey, Calvin
I feel like
Ridley.
if it's 6 games, the NFL is going to lose a lot of fans.
Well, they also said that whenever Colin Kaepernick kept kneeling, and people forgot about that within like a month.
Hey, Calvin Ridley, good job making that $10 bet that got you suspended for a year, but this guy's going to get a bunch of handies, and, he can do whatever he wants. Good job.
Crazy.
Goodell.
Gambling is wrong, and that's why I wanted to tell you that I think for the rest of the duration of the show, I think we should
Gambling
only
show.
talk about fantasy football.
This is still gambling, Pat.
Then I have to leave the show.
Well, AJ, I have a spot open for the show if you would like to come on full time. All right, let me read off some of these picks here.
I'm down to come back whenever.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely do this again. After our pick, Mark Ingram went, Austin Hooper, Raheem Mostert, David Njoku, Carson Wentz. Is it Daryl or Damian Williams? Daryl. Jesus. Daryl Williams, Khalil Herbert, George Pickens. Damn. At the end of round 15. Wan'Dale Robinson opens up the 16th round. James Washington. Haha. Sucks for you. Jamal Williams. Marvin Jones Jr. and then Paris Campbell, which we talked about Alec Pierce. I think I would actually rather have Pierce over Campbell, right?
I like Nico Collins too. Give me Nico Collins.
So Nico? Who are the other wide receivers? Just Brandon
it's up to
Cooks,
you.
right?
I like AJ Green in those first 6 weeks too. But I feel like he'll be better on the comeback too.
Pat, Nico, or Alec Pierce?
Oh man, you're really making
10
me
seconds.
stress here.
8, 7,
Nico.
6.
See, I
I
would
would go
I would have
Alec
picked
Pierce.
Alex Pierce,
Or
but
Nico.
I feel like
I
the
mean-
problem with the Colts is that how many wide receivers have been around lately for them? Paris Campbell is one of them. We're like, eventually it's gonna work. I don't know. It could take a while for them.
I think now that they're done force feeding Ty, that it's going to be more of a wide receiver by committee. Pittman's going to lead the force by a lot,
Sure.
but they're going to spread the ball around.
Also, want to bring up that I like how Julio Jones is still just hanging out here above guys like
Well, so does
Curtis Samuel
OBJ.
and yeah, Mitchie,
There's your Isaiah McKenzie.
Sony. All right, so this is a,
I'll
a
tell you this
short
though:
term.
if Julio Jones goes to the Packers, he's gonna lead that team in yards.
That'd be so fun to watch. All right, after our Nico Collins pick, Alec Pierce went. Jerick McKinnon, I always forget he still plays. He did well at the end of last season. Chris Evans, David Bell, Kendrick Bourne. One more pick, and we are on the clock. So far, we have 5 running backs, 7 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, 2 quarterbacks. We are on the board. Cameron Brate goes. Watson's there. AJ Green's there. Devin Duvernay. Boy. Isaiah McKenzie, if we want to reach a little bit. KJ Hamler's there, but I think he makes it to us in the next round. 10-second, boys.
I think we take Deshaun and take a gamble.
Love it.
Let him not fall any longer.
You brainwashed him.
Love it.
All right.
No, it's a
I get it.
no.
It's
There's
fine.
logic here.
It's fine.
Okay. We just need to
It's a
get
dart
David
throw.
Bell.
And if
We'll
he
get
comes back,
David
it's
Bell,
an
and then we
elite
can have a
dart
stack.
If we didn't have Kirk, I'd be a little more upset, but we got Kirk already, so it's fine. It's fine.
We're just gonna probably need to grab like. Is there any quarterbacks left at all? Actually,
Let's see here. Mariota,
Kenny.
Trubisky, Jacoby. Boy. To answer your question, no.
you know what? We should grab Huntley in case Lamar goes down at the end.
So this is an interesting thing. So Taysom has officially declared to the NFL that he's a tight end this season. He's still listed here as a quarterback. That might just be like a, what's it called? I don't want to use the word sneaky again, but that's like a way to kind of jib the system, it feels like. Maybe more so in a super flex, but just something I noticed. All right, boys, we got 3 more picks here. I think we're good on quarterbacks. We have 5 running backs, 7 wide receivers, 2 tight ends. That could get a little dicey. So do you guys think we should take another tight end, or do we want to shoot for, man, at this point, it probably is all wide receivers. People forget about Chuba as well. We talk about CMC going down. Chuba is still the number 2 there.
I think Foreman is going to be the number 2. I think he's still there actually. He's above him.
Do we have a depth chart thing on here? No. Speed type.
But yeah, that was the guy who took over after Henry went down.
Depth chart. Carolina. McCaffrey, Chuba, Deonta Foreman. Yeah, Deonta Foreman's a big dude. Spencer, who cares? Cool. Yeah, I didn't know what their depth chart looked like. Pick history since our last pick of Deshaun Watson. AJ Green went. Logan Thomas, Mechie the third. Isaiah McKenzie, OBJ. That's interesting. Byron Pringle. KJ Hamler. Brian Robinson Jr., Kenyon Drake, Will Fuller, the 5th, Kenny Pickett goes. That's also interesting to me. I like Will Fuller as well in terms of like who's still a free agent. And then his name Bryce. It's Bryce Jordan, right? Brevin. Wow, I missed that one. Brevin Jordan, tight end for Houston. Terrence Marshall Jr. And then former Panther Curtis Samuel, who hasn't played football, it feels like, in 2 years. Goes off the board. Next, 2 more picks, and then we are up, guys. Any thoughts here? It's getting pretty slim pickings down here.
Well, if we're trying to get, I don't know if you want to do another stack, but Peoples Jones is available as a Browns wide receiver. That would be the only person who's really standing out to me.
He has big bomb games, right? 6, 10, 14, 16, 29. Yeah, so for best ball, I think that makes sense. Maybe he just never gets in the lineup except for like a week or 2. Oh, shit, we're on the board. All right. Peoples Jones, AJ, any thoughts?
No, I like Peoples Jones, especially if Watson comes back.
All right, let's do it.
You might have just wasted 2 picks, so we're sorry.
Also, wouldn't be mad. I also might. I wouldn't be mad at him wasting 3 picks and taking Gronk if he's still there.
Oh,
Gronk. Where's he at? There he is. Boy, I'm just kind of scrolling through to see what's even left. Are we on the short turn? Yes. All right, so we're up here in 4 picks. Braxton Berrios, I still like Trey McBride, but I don't think we need another tight end. Jeff Wilson. Boy. Is Mike Davis the number 2 if JK goes down?
I think Gus is.
I forgot about Gus. Thank you. All right, we are on the clock here. Man.
I like Julio too.
Julio.
He's gonna get signed somewhere. I think he just doesn't want to. He just doesn't want to participate in training camp. So he's waiting until that's
too
over.
old. All right, Julio, Pat, 8 seconds.
sure, do it.
Fuck it. One more pick, boys. Who's gonna be?
I know that
Mr.
was the whole beef
Irrelevant?
between him and the head coach, because I know the head coach is a hard ass and wants everybody to be doing 50 wind sprints during practice and stuff like that. And Julio Jones wasn't about that life.
Running it like a high school team.
He was saying just play me on Sunday and that's it.
Well, yeah, because he gets hurt during practice and he's always limited. You just can't do it. All right, let's go deep
Man,
down
you're
the
going
board,
deep.
guys.
Hold on.
What do we think?
Yeah.
I should filter this out a bit. Let's go just wide receivers.
Just
Alshon
take-
Jeffrey.
Let's just take our guy.
Who was our guy?
Who's the best available?
Oh, Rob. Is that what you're saying?
No, I think we already took too many risks. I think we should get someone that would be a solid piece if someone above them went down.
Someone went down. Slayton's
about
relevant at times.
Berrios, Braxton
Aguilar,
Berrios?
Braxton, and he's good for PPR.
Say
yeah,
Garrett
look
Wilson
at
or
that.
one of them goes down.
Yeah, he.
Oh,
look at all
speaking of
these
that,
targets
Corey
and shit.
Davis actually goes down a lot. He
He-
literally takes Corey Davis' spot when
He just
Corey
doesn't
Davis
play.
goes down.
Yeah. All right, I don't mind Braxton. Let me mark him here. Actually, shit, where'd he go?
I would say the only other guy, if you're looking at someone who's probably going to get time, is Velus Jones, because the Bears receiver room such
I was gonna
trash,
say
and everyone's.
that. I was gonna say Velas.
Boom.
And I don't even know what's going to happen,
The
but we
oldest
just
rookie
need
in
to
NFL
make
history.
Ugh.
I wouldn't be mad at N'Keal Harry if he's there too. Yeah, I feel like he's the second best receiver there already.
Did he go? I think he went. Boy,
How are you feeling about Guyton? Jalen Guyton?
I like all of the Chargers, so I have no problem with him at all. And again, he's like a perfect best ball type player where he has weeks where he gets, gooses and weeks where he'll put up 19-ish points, 18, 19 points.
That's another thing. Like, Keenan Allen misses time, so if he goes down, that's where Guyton's gonna play.
I think we just need the good luck charm of Josh Gordon on our team.
I didn't realize Sterling Shepard was so low.
Yeah.
That kind of fell off the face of the earth real quick.
Dante Pettis still exists. Jamal Agnew. Oh, boy. Are there any running back? The first guy I saw there when I switched over to running back was Frank Gore. All right. Sony. Oh. Any thoughts
The only
on
guy
Sony?
I like here is Trey Sermon because
Trey,
there's a chance
Trey.
that Kyle Shanahan uses him.
Justin Jackson.
He was a bust last year, but you never know with the 49ers.
Harson's gone. Wilson's there too. Is that Derek Gore? Yep. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Boston Scott.
What about
Brandon
Benny Snell
Graham.
football, Dylan? Do you think Benny Snell's going to finally take over?
I want him to get kicked off the team so bad.
Boston Scott's
There
not
he
a bad
is.
option either.
Yay.
Ugh.
Wait, who's the other guy below? Durant? Is he a
Durant.
practice squad guy? Oh, he's a rookie,
I don't know,
undrafted
Blue.
guy,
Oh.
right?
So, yeah, practice squad is really what that means, or free agent. All right, one more pick, and we are up. Wide receiver, running back. We have two guys here, Braxton and Jones Jr. Are those kind of the top of our list?
Who's there at tight end one more time?
Whose? Ours?
Yeah, no. Who's left at tight end?
Oh, who's left? My bad. Trey McBride. I like Trey McBride, but completely understand if we don't want a third tight end. 30 seconds on the clock. They still got Ertz.
I'd be down to go V-less. Kind of leaning that way.
Pat?
Yeah, let's do it because I
Mainly
think with
it's a
Braxton,
big
you
fat
just,
question mark in Chicago.
yeah, Braxton, we know what we're gonna get with him.
Cool. And that's your draft, boys. Let me just read off the team here real quick. So at our quarterback, we have, I'll do it by position. Quarterback, we have Lamar Jackson, Kirk Cousins, and Deshaun Watson. That's just so funny to say. Running back, we have James Conner, Breece Hall, Penny, Pierce, Davis Price, and I think that's it. Yes. I'll go tight ends first because we got a lot of wide receivers. At tight end, we have Mark Andrews and Tyler Higbee. And then for our wide receivers, we have Justin Jefferson, Hunter Renfrow, Devonta Smith, Tyler Lockett, Devonta Parker, Jamison Crowder, Nico Collins, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Julio Jones, Jones. We got a lot of Jones on our team, I'm realizing. But overall, I like that a lot. I'm glad we took half of our team as tight ends. That seems to kind of end up being the move. We have some riskier guys, obviously, with Watson. I would like to stay and look at my team. But if he does come back, if it is a 6-game suspension, he comes back, that's a hell of a value. When did we even get him? What round was that? How the hell do I look? Oh, it's going to make me do this. Okay. Watson. Well, if I could spell. We got him at pick 196 in round 17. That late in the draft, even if it is a risk, that's what you have to do in these best ball type tournaments. Any final thoughts, guys?
I'm proud of this team.
Very cool. Well, AJ, thank you
It's
for
like all of our ideals in one team.
Yeah, it was good, well-minded because honestly, some of these guys weren't even on my radar, and that's what you need for these later round picks. But again, AJ, appreciate you being here, taking the time. Where can people look at your work or find you, listen to you, follow you, subscribe to you? Where are you at?
Y'all can follow me at FFT_AJ at Twitter. The Fantasy Frontline Podcast hosted by me and my friend Tim. Just finished an episode going over Warrior Ball mock. I think I'm hosting another one on Sunday. Yeah, y'all can find that on Twitter. And that's about it.
Good stuff. Again, AJ, really appreciate you being here. Want to take the time to remind you guys that we do have a fantasy football-based guessing game that is available both on iOS and Android. It's called Fumble, the fantasy football guessing game. Go ahead and look it up. Give it a download. It's a fun time. Also want to remind you to deposit now. Get ready for the season. We are, about a month away from preseason and then 2 months away from the regular season starting. So if you want to start getting ready with Monkey Knife Fight, you want to do some prop betting, use our link below. Get your first deposit match instantly up to $100. You put in $100, they give you another $100. You now have $200 for the season.
Yeah, also check out our link for BarkBox. It's a subscription service that brings treats and toys straight to your door every month. And when you click our link, you should get a free month. So give it a check.
All right. Thank you, boys. It was a good one.